hold on. There we go. Sorry that the loading screen went on for a while. The second I started the stream, the dogs decided, I want to go outside now. So yeah, sorry. Alright, I don't really have anything I want to like blab about today. Nothing I really want to talk about before I go, so I think my first and only words before I start this time are gonna be treat this one, oh, what the heck? Oh, Spot. Treat book one as like a prologue movie of sorts, cause like the other ones are different in comparison to this. Book one's different. Just it's the prologue movie, you know? That's how it is. Anyway, I'll begin. Oh, you couldn't get takoyaki at the fest? No, I'm so sorry. I wish takoyaki in your future. Speaking of takoyaki, once again, no one claims first. What if I claimed it? I won't, but I could. Alright. With that little preamble, Chapter 3 Jekka. I was sent away. I was deemed a failure. I was considered not good enough. I acted a bit Thank you for the gift. No. Right when I started. Thank you. Thank you for the gift. Spot what? Oh my god, he's... Okay, I'm gonna have to restart this one. Spot's being a baby. He wants under the blanket. Why are you up there? Get down. You're such a little brat. Come on. Just go under. Unbelievable. These guys, honestly. Alright, okay, this time for real. Chapter 3, Jekka. I was sent away. I was deemed a failure. I was considered not good enough. I acted a bit too robotic. I was not what they wanted me to be. The way I acted was not pleasing to them, and so I was forced to leave, never to return, until I am able to become more of a real person. I must learn how to have my own opinions, likes and dislikes, how to make and keep friends, and how to become unique. Incredibly difficult tasks, every one of them. All I wanted to do was be useful to them. I loved them, after all. But that love was not good enough. I did not act correctly, and so I must learn. I must become better. I must turn myself into what they wished of me. And yet, I have no idea how or where to begin doing such a thing. Not a single clue on how to tackle even one of those tasks in an efficient manner. I sent myself into a random world, hoping that I may ask someone in it about this and acquire help in figuring it out, and yet that seems impossible, since there is no one around here at all. Oh, no, it seems that I was wrong. Hearing a myriad of footsteps approaching, I turn my head and see two people coming towards me on horseback. The horses themselves both appear to be thoroughbreds, and the people atop of them appear to be knights in dull grey armor. It seems that this world is of the fantasy variety, or perhaps just far in the past. "Hey, you there! What are you doing there?" One shouts at me, his words slightly muffled by his helmet. I have only just arrived in this land. Please excuse me if I am trespassing on your land, as that was not my intention. If you desire it, I will immediately leave. Closing my eyes, I bow my head slightly. What the? You talk strangely, and your garments are even stranger. Never mind that, though. You must leave this place quickly. We're about to be attacked. Damn, too late. They're already here. Go on, get out of here, now! Run or try to hide! My eyes open once more, taking in the sight of a few more knights approaching. These ones have on white armor instead of the gray ones that the ones in front of me do. No, thank you. I cannot be hurt or killed, so there is no need to mind me. I don't have time for this. Gods, but you're weird, though. With that monotone voice and those weird clothes. Whatever. If you want to go and get hurt, then be my guest. So says the quieter knight as he gently kicks at his horse, making it run once more. Hey, Jacob! What the hell are you doing? Don't just go off alone. And don't just go telling civilians to go into battle and die. And you there, hiding behind that tree. You get out of here as well. A noise that can only be described as a small child squeaking in shock sounds off behind me, and when I turn, I see a boy dressed in a rather unimpressive array of brown colors. Judging from what I know about other worlds such as this child is almost definitely poor. Our eyes meet, and he immediately turns around and begins to run off. Instinctively, I begin to chase after him, my feet moving as fast as they can while remaining unaltered. A child should not be near a battle, or where one is about to begin. That, and trained soldiers should be able to handle themselves in a battle. No matter how nasty their attitudes may be, they are trained for war, and even if they meet a hasty end, they were prepared for that to occur. When I found that child once more, he was in the air, his feet dangling as he was held by his neck, and a hand encased in white armor clutching at it. Their head turns to me, towards me, as I approach, and they stare at me through the tiny opening in their helmet. As they do, the sunlight from above shines harshly down upon us, nearly blinding me from how bright and white their armor is. Here I thought I'd get to flank a few idiots before the main force arrived, yet instead I found two children standing in my way, and the ones I was aiming for are likely gone by now. The surprisingly nice-sounding voice seemingly spews venom as it speaks. If your goal was to attack the opposing knights, then why attack this boy? As I ask the knight this, their hand tightens its grip on his neck. Well, aren't you a weird one? Phrasing that more as a fact and less as a question, they throw him down to the ground. He lightly grips at his own neck, sputtering and choking after making a less than savory landing. As he does this, the knight begins to approach me, their armor clanking with every step taken. This is now the second time that I have been called weird. If it is indeed my appearance causing this, then I can change that easily. Oh, change how? They stop in their tracks as they ask this. Like this. Due to my natural ability to shapeshift, granted to me by my master, I am able to turn my body, or even just single parts of it, into whatever I wish. This includes clothing, meaning that I do not ever need to obtain new clothing. As long as no part of it gets cut away, it will remain a part of me. As I demonstrate this by changing my usual hoodie and shorts outfit into one that I assume would fit this world better, the boy lets out a gasp. His eyes widen as he watches my outfit change completely in a matter of mere seconds. The knight, however, puts their hand on their sword. I see, so you're not a kid at all. Mimics are getting more advanced. Or maybe you're some sort of new monster, maybe a crossbreed between the two. Nah, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you not being a kid makes this much easier. Saying this, they draw their sword and immediately charge at me. Attempting to dodge as best I can in the short amount of time I am given, I step backwards a bit. I dodge most of the incoming slash, but a bit of it does connect with my chest. Ow. Looking down, I see that it went in further than I had imagined. I am lucky. If it had gone entirely through my chest and severed it from the bottom half of my body, I would have had to recreate that bottom part from scratch. That would have been such a pain, and it would have hurt far more as well. As for the clothes, they are a part of me as well, so they can be easily mended as I can. As I mend my own body and remove my white blood dripping down it, the knight sheathes his sword and begins to back away. I'm not going to waste my time fighting an enemy like you. Not now, at least. They continue to back away, moving into the brush. I know it's rich in me to warn you after I just threatened your life and all, kid, but you should get out of here too. Get as far away as you possibly can. A monster like this isn't anything you or much of anyone else could handle. It'll probably destroy your whole town before my army can even get the opportunity to. I relish the opportunity we next meet. I'd love to see what the limits of that regeneration ability are. So they say, their voice getting quieter and quieter as they leave us. A few moments pass before the young boy speaks up once more. You aren't really going to do any of that, are you? I am not. I merely ran after you to assure your safety, as I knew that as a child there is no way that you would be properly versed in the ways of combat. Unlike the knights we saw back there, or the one we saw just a moment ago. I'm not a kid, you know. Thanks, though. I don't think Sir Laureate would have killed me, but she probably would have kept choking me for longer if you hadn't shown up. I see. So that is her name. Yeah, she leads the knights of her country, but she used to live in the capital here. She's super famous because of that. Oh, right, I didn't say my own name. I'm JC, which is weird, I know, don't say anything. So what's yours? I was named Jekka. Oh, so your name is weird too. Cool. A brief moment of awkward silence cuts through us before JC speaks up again. So, I'm gonna head home now. You're not from around here, right? That is correct. I have come here from a different world. Wow. Then, you don't really have a home here, right? You can come with me if you want. I don't think that moms will be too mad. Alright, please lead the way then. We walked silently through the brush, in the opposite direction of where the nights before had been headed. Soon, we came to a path made entirely of dirt, and follow it until we reach a town. JC, there you are! Everyone's been worried sick! And this is? The town guard eyed me, suspiciously, as JC smiled at him. This is my friend Jekka. They're staying at my house. Oh, is that so? So if I ask your moms, they'll say the same? Yes, of course they would. It's not like I can give permission, it's their house, you know. Duh. For a night, you're kinda stupid, huh? Hey, watch your tone! You're lucky that you're like a little brother to me. Yeah. You wouldn't think that if I wasn't so short. Huh, get out of here, both of you. With no further words spoken, JC turns to me and smiles, taking my hand as he leads me into the town. I do not say a word of thanks until we reach the inside of his house. for fear of being overheard and arousing suspicion. Instead, I simply look around, noting how poor this entire village looks. That, and I still cannot tell if this is supposed to be an old world or a fantasy one, what with all of the wood and stone that makes up the numerous houses here. "We're home!" JC yells as easily as he opens the door, which does not seem to be capable of locking. For witnessing nights like how he did, and for being so close to a battle area, he seems incredibly carefree. Is this normal, I wonder? "Oh, no one's here. Right, they would be at work at this time. Well, come in. I'm gonna go ahead and put dinner on since I'm here early enough to. You can sit wherever you want." He throws his shoes down to the floor and speeds off to his kitchen as he talks, leaving me no explanation of much of anything in the process. All right. I sit at the kitchen table and watch as he takes out a cutting board and a large knife, then takes a few various vegetables out from inside of a burlap sack. As he brings them to the cutting board and begins to skillfully chop them into tiny bits, he begins to speak once more. "If you hear any noises coming from upstairs, my sister is home, so don't worry about it." Well, I say is home, but she's always home. She's really sick. I see. I will remember this. Her name's Agatha, but make sure to call her Aggie instead. She'll get mad if you don't. She's more than a few years younger than me, and, How old are you exactly? Me? I'm 19. I know I don't look it, but I really am. I suppose I should apologize for thinking that he was only a boy. And yet I never made any mention of that out loud, did I? In that case, apologizing would seem strange. So I will refrain. You look surprised. I guess it is pretty shocking, huh? But I really am. Well, how old are you then, Sheka? I am 1 year and 5 months old. He stops chopping, looking away from his vegetables and giving me a blank stare. You're what? 1 year and... No, I heard you, but... I mean... I am not a human being. Oh, right, I see. Okay. With an expression that I can only read as silently scared, he goes back to chopping his vegetables in silence. As he finishes, he pushes them all into a large pot, and then smacks his hand against his forehead for some reason. Ah, damn! What is the matter? Oh, I just forgot to put the fire on before starting again. I see. I will take care of that. Give me a moment. As I move to the rather primitive-looking oven, I change the tip of my right hand's pointer finger into a lighter tip. Crouching down, I see that there is not much wood below. After lighting the few pieces that were inside of it aflame, I turn my right hand into a blade and my left into a large piece of wood. Afterwards, I turn the bit between my flesh and the wood into a small string, then cut it with the blade that used to be my right hand. I repeat this several times, putting a few large logs into the now roaring fire, then revert both of my arms back to normal. When I stand up afterwards and go to sit once again, I see JC standing right beside me, staring down in awe. He has been stunned into silence and frozen as well. Are you all right, JC? I... Yeah, I'm fine. That's so cool. Cool? Yeah, it was amazing, actually. If I could do that, I'd be a hero to everyone. I bet I could end the war in an instant. Hey, how does that even work? How do you do that? And you said you weren't human, right? What are you then? And how did you come to be? Suddenly overwhelmed by his shift in attitude, I realized that what I assumed to be fear may have been him stifling his excitement. His eyes shine as his face gets incredibly close to my own, now unable to contain his rapidly bursting feelings. I can tell you, if you wish. I will do my best to recount my own tale. However, as I do, I think it would be best if you got back to making your stew. Oh, right! I still need to chop up the chicken, put the broth in, then put it over the flame. uh, I just got so excited. Sorry. I'll get back to it. And so, as he prepared the ingredients to his stew, I recited my own story. I told him of how I was created by Rel, and how I was sent away. And as for my shape-shifting, well, it is exactly that. Not wanting to share their power with me out of fear, Rel instead bestowed the ability to turn any part of my body into whatever I please, as long as I have a vague idea of what it is made out of, and if I can visualize it in my mind's eye. Because of this, I can maneuver my own body and make it do virtually anything I would want it to. I will not change my overall appearance permanently, as I am happy with the one that Rel bestowed upon me, but it is a possibility. If I wish to, I could grow extra limbs, modify my own appearance, turn my entire body into either an object or a different creature entirely, or produce items from my body by cutting parts off. I am also able to turn my body's systems on and off at will, enabling myself to stop feeling pain when necessary. Wow, that's seriously totally amazing! You are the first person I have ever seen become so excited by it. Actually, you are the first person besides Rel to even know about the fact that I am able to do this. Really? I'm honored then! He smiles brightly at me as he tosses the cut-up chicken into the pot. So you can just do that at will then? Yes, but it does take a bit of stamina each time I do something. My limit is extremely hard to reach, but it does exist. I can assure you of that. I see. So then you couldn't produce infinite logs? I would see no reason as to why I would even try. Well, with infinite logs, you can make tons of houses and fires! Again, I fail to see a point in doing that. He tries and fails to come up with a retort, and ends up just going back to his stew, dejectedly, may I add. And so, to cheer him up, I regale him with a bit of additional info. JC. What? There is one other thing I did not mention. Really? What is it? Two things, actually. One is that once any object gets cut away from me is, well, cut away, it becomes entirely separate from me. If the piece of invisible thread connecting my clothes to my body was cut, then they would become removable, allowing anyone to don them. Your clothes are part of you? I mean, I did see you change all weirdly earlier, but that's... doesn't that feel weird? I made sure that I cannot feel them. I mentioned earlier that I can control my body's systems, correct? That is part of it. Anyhow, the other thing that I failed to mention, perhaps one of the most important things, is that I cannot die, no matter what. You can't die? No. Even if I was chopped into pieces, my consciousness would remain in a single one of those tiny pieces, and I would be forced to gradually rebuild my own body from that piece. Ugh, that's kind of scary in a way. But, wow, that's also amazing! You could fight and never be scared of dying! You'd be the ultimate soldier ever! I do not wish to fight anyone. Really? I do! I want to protect my moms and my sister! Now finished with putting his stew on the oven-like thing, or perhaps I should call it a very old-fashioned stove, he continues to talk as he sits at the table with me. That is very admirable of you. I would also do anything to protect the one I hold most dear, even if I do not wish to fight anyone. I would do it in a heartbeat for their sake. That's your Rel, right? No, I am theirs, not the other way around. You say that like you're an object or something. I mean, the way you talk about yourself, it's kind of obvious you think like that, right? Like you're just a living weapon, even though you don't want to fight. Then again, the tools themselves are never the ones itching for a fight, it's the people that use them. I was about to say that those were insightful words from one so young, but then I remembered that he is in fact not young. In the grand scheme of things, or in comparison to Rel, he absolutely is. But in terms of humans, I know that only small children are considered young to most. That is very insightful of you. In fact, I had not noticed. So I was thinking of myself in that way. How strange. I did not think that I was. You weren't doing it on purpose? I was not. That aside, however, I would like to ask something. What is it? You wish to protect your family, correct? Of course! How do you plan to accomplish this? Well, I'm going to enter the Night Academy in the capital city. Duh! Oh, wait, you're from another world, so you wouldn't know. Of course. Sorry. It is fine. Let me tell you some stuff, then. All right. I will listen as best I can. He clears his throat, then begins to speak in a slightly more dignified tone. Perhaps he is attempting to mimic someone that I do not know. This town is called Dandelion, because a rich man decided that he wanted it to be named after all the dandelions around here. Except dandelion didn't sound nice enough, so he made it fancier. Dandelion is a short walk away from the capital, Hone. The rich man that I mentioned before is the king of this land, by the way. He's really fond of flowers, bees, honey, nature in general, that sort of thing. I don't really get it myself. Anyway, this land is called Fora, and the enemy knights before, including the White Knight, were from the land of Eel. We've been at war for a long time now, but the fights usually don't last too long. It's scary that we're getting closer to here, though. The fact that they were able to come to Dandelion with no issues, it's really worrying. And that brings me to my next topic, my family. Like I told you before, I want to join the Night Academy and fight to protect them. I already told you about Aggie a little bit, but if I had to say one more thing, it's that she might ask you to take her outside. She might ask you that a lot, but don't do it, please. Her immune system is very weak and she's already sickly enough. Oh, right, and then there's my mom's. My first mom is Greta, and she works as a potter. She can make anything out of clay. She even made all of the plates and stuff we have here. Impressive, right? Well, get this. My other mom, Ellen, is a seamstress. She made what I'm wearing right now. I guess I should say a little about both of them? Well, Greta likes warm colors and refuses to eat fish, and is the nicer one. And Ellen likes cool colors, and her favorite food is roasted chestnuts. She's also really strict at times. And, I can't really think of anything else. So, the end! I thought that the end was reserved for when a story ends, not when someone finishes presenting information of some sort. It doesn't matter. I suppose it does not matter in this context. Another small and awkward moment of silence soon comes and passes. Hey, Jekka? What is it?
Can you, shapeshift for me?
I suppose I could. What would you like to see?
Can you turn your arm into a sword?
Oh, that is easy. Please wait just a moment. I close my eyes and concentrate, switching the shape of my flesh once more, and fashioning a blade where everything below my right elbow used to be.
You know, the more I see you do that, the cooler it gets, even if it did look super gross at first. Oh man, it's really just so cool. Hey, can I touch it?
Go ahead.
Oh, sweet hell yes!
He loudly exclaims as he leans over across the table, taking my sword arm into his hands. I sit there awkwardly and silently as he examines it thoroughly, touching and poking at it all over. Upon finally becoming satisfied, he lets go and sits back down, and I return my arm back to its normal shape once more. Over the course of the next week, I got to know JC better. As a matter of fact, I got to know his entire family better. His mothers quickly, and perhaps far too easily, accepted me living with them once JC revealed my true nature to them, and his sister did as well. She was suspicious at first, but that stopped after just 2 days for some reason. His mothers were as completely enamored with my shape-shifting as he was. They both requested I transform myself in various ways, and were extremely fascinated after I did so. And yet, despite how they were being kind, it made me sort of sad. Yes, I felt sad. For just like JC said that I had been thinking of myself as nothing more than a tool or living weapon, it seemed that those two regarded me in the exact same way, wishing to learn nothing about me more, wishing to learn nothing more about me after learning about my true nature, even though I am supposed to be learning about how to become more of a person. That sadness was alleviated slightly by Aggie, however, who did not care in the slightest. As I mentioned, she was suspicious of me at first, but seemed to care more about her everyday life and what was for dinner than she did anything about my abilities. It was nice in a strange way. Not as nice as the finished stew ended up being when we partook of it that night. A rich and creamy chicken stew, with many chopped up vegetables, and a nice array of spices mixed into the broth. It was something akin to when I tried eating a soup at a restaurant that Rel took me to once. Eating it made me feel warm, in 2 different ways. On the 5th day that I was in that house, Aggie asked me to take her outside. I refused, as I was instructed to. Why do you wish to go outside so badly?
Because I've been stuck in this room in this stupid house for ages now. They don't ever let me go outside because they don't want me to get even sicker, but
Her talking is interrupted by a small coughing fit, which I attempt to help her come out of by gently rubbing her back. She groans after she finally stops, and I go to get her a cup of water.
don't go yet.
You really should have a drink, Aggie.
Look, I just want to go to that place again.
That place.
I want to see that lake, the really pretty one surrounded by flowers, just one more time. I don't care how sick I am, I just want to go there.
I will be right back.
Fine.
The days continued on. Each day was close to the same, yet they all felt startlingly unique as well. The townspeople in Dandelion got to know me, and I got to know them as well. The baker at the bakery even asked me to work for him for a while, after my first few visits. I agreed to do so on the basis that instead of receiving payment, he would simply give JC's family free bread whenever they needed it. That, and that I could bring at least 4 cookies back each day. He readily agreed, and for a few hours each day for the next month, I would replenish the fires there and help to put his products into bags and rudimentary packaging. I would also, every day, assist JC with his swordplay training. And by assist, I mean that I would sit in on his practice with Randall, one of the town guards. JC never seemed to get any better, but he would never give up or back down from any challenge issued to him. I thought this was extremely admirable of him.
Everyone, look! The letter came! Ooh, how exciting, dear! What does it say? Did you pass or did you fail?
JC takes the letter out of the envelope and reads it, his face becoming brighter and his smile growing wider with each second.
I'm in! I got in! And you did too!
He turns to look at me, his smile nearly contagious. Wait, what did he just say? I did? How?
I sent one in for you too, of course. I know you don't like fighting, but even without that, there's still a lot to do in there. And if it does come to that, then defending everyone is never a bad thing.
I feel as though he is hopelessly optimistic and naive, and yet I do not dislike these things. I see. Then I suppose I have no choice but to accompany you.
Yeah, I'd be crushed if you said you didn't want to come, to be honest.
Just a week after that, we departed for the capital. As we left the house, both of his mothers waved goodbye to us. Aggie, however, seemed extremely displeased at our departure. Whereas Ellen and Greta saw us off, waving with large smiles on their faces, Aggie only scowled and turned away. Without a wave, nor even so much as a single goodbye, she went back into the house the instant that JC stopped looking at her, the very second he began to turn around. I suppose she feels hurt, as if she is being abandoned in some way. And yet, there is nothing I can do about this.
Come on, we don't want to be late, right?
No, we do not. I am coming. The trip was longer than I had anticipated. JC had regarded the walk as a short one, and yet it took us a full hour. An hour in full to reach the capital. It was not a boring trip at all, due to JC's ability to keep talking even when there seems to be nothing interesting to say. It really was long, however. The roads themselves were extremely well maintained, and yet offered little to no shade. And on a hot day like today, that meant that the walk was extremely unpleasant. JC's company was its only good point.
Look, we're here!
So we are. I am glad. Beyond glad.
Hey, I know you're hot, but better hot than cold, right?
I would rather not have either extreme. I think things are more pleasant when they are balanced, and stay more towards the middle of the spectrum.
Wouldn't things be boring like that, though? You'd appreciate breezy spring days less if you didn't have the cloudy days, the thunderstorms, or the heat waves there to spice things up.
No, I think I would appreciate them exactly the same amount, perhaps more even. As we come closer to the gate, our conversation naturally drew to a close. Stopping in front of the guards, I look at the weapons at their sides as JC talks to one of them excitedly. He shows his invitation letter and mine as well, and they quickly let us through. Perhaps too quickly, in my case. Regardless of that, what happened next also happened extremely quickly. It happened the very second we stepped into the city proper, in fact. JC grabbed my hand and held it tightly within his own, then began to run. My legs moved on their own, easily and effortlessly, matching his pace. "Why are you running?" I asked, but received no answer. And so, as we ran, I looked at the city we found ourselves in, now able to tell that this is indeed more of a fantasy world rather than an old or medieval one due to the structures and layout of this place. I took in as much of it as I could. From the somewhat strange layout of the shops to the entire section apparently dedicated to crafts and the arts, to the large castle that stood tall in the center of it all atop a large hill. It was stunningly beautiful, all of it, despite its strangeness, or perhaps the strangeness made it that beautiful. Regardless.
Excuse me, we're your new recruits. I have our acceptance papers right here, so...
JC stopped mid-sentence to cough, out of breath from running all the way to the night academy that he always dreamed of.
Oh, huh. Alright, let me see them.
The person at the front desk seemed unnaturally unenthusiastic, as if his motivation had been completely drained away.
Let's see, you're JC, right? You haven't grown even an inch since I last saw you. Maybe I haven't, but that doesn't matter.
It does.
Shrimps can't fight as well as humans can.
The man smirks at JC, then shifts his gaze towards me.
So, you're Jekka then?
Yes, I am.
We didn't get much info on you on this paper, but the king decided to let you in anyway, so you better be grateful. Why the hell would you leave all of this blank?
I
wrote it on the back! They have amnesia, which is why they were living with me.
Right.
So if they couldn't remember everything, how did they know their name, huh? That's, well, it's kinda... You probably wouldn't believe me.
The man sighs and walks over to JC, then places a hand on his shoulder.
Look, I've known you and your family for ages now. I know your motivations, and I know you'd never willingly waltz in here with a spy in tow. But I don't know anything about this one at all, and... Oh, come on, don't look at me like that. Jekka's a good person, I swear! How can you say that for sure if you don't even know anything about them? I do! They've lived with me about a month now. I know plenty about them!
They stare each other down for a few seconds. If this were in one of the plethora of novels that I have taken a peek at, it might be described in that classic way, that sentence people always use. The tension was so thick that you could cut it with a knife. Soon enough, though, the man decides to relent.
Alright, stop glaring at me like that. You can both go ahead.
JC huffs as he turns his head, taking my hand once more and leading me further into the building. It is relatively small for a headquarters, or so I thought. Soon enough, I was led to a staircase, and led straight down into the underground section. Wow, to think that it would have something like this hidden. JC, if I may ask, how exactly do you know where to go?
Oh, I asked about it last time I was here, and the time before that, too.
And they told you? I would think that such a thing would be a heavily kept secret.
No, it's not really a secret at all. The only reason I asked twice is to be sure I got it right the first time. Apparently, they tell pretty much anyone if they ask.
I see. How strange.
Good work, everyone! Keep it up, and you might just be able to fight someone in the next 10 or 20 years!
Maybe sooner if you'd apply some effort. The instructor leaves the room, leaving all of us in the room. Many of the new initiates to this prestigious night academy begin to talk amongst themselves, seemingly not tired at all by the grueling first day of training that I had not expected. Hey, so I'm Carlo, and I want to be in the front lines with a huge spear. What kind of weapon do you all want to use? Oh, and names too. What is this, a school? We all gonna go around introducing ourselves? A few people chuckle at that retort. Of course we are. We're a squad now, or at least, well, this is a school, asshole. It's called an academy. More importantly, being in a squad means we're a team, so we're gonna have to all learn to get along, or at least know some things about each other so our teamwork isn't complete trash. A moment of silence follows, and then someone timidly begins to speak.
Um, I. I'm Mikhail, and I'm good at firing arrows, so I want to be an archer. See, Mikhail here has no issues with it.
Carla smiles and walks over to Mikhail, giving him a few pats on the back.
Now, who's next?
Everyone takes turns introducing themselves and relaying which weapon is their prime choice in battle, or which they would like to learn best. I memorize each one, wanting to remember everyone and their decisions. Soon, JC's turn came and went, and then there was only me remaining.
All right, Odd Eyes, your turn.
Carlo smiles as he turns to me. Odd Eyes? Well, I am Jekka, and I suppose I will take whatever weapon I am assigned.
You don't have any preferences?
I do not. I am only here because of JC.
Oh, is that how it is?
Carlo turns from me and looks towards JC, giving him a sly expression.
It's not like that, stupid. They're an amnesiac. I found them in the woods. They've been living with me in my house for a little over a month or two since they had nowhere else to go. Oh, gotcha. So you don't remember anything?
I suppose I will have to play along. No, I do not.
That's sad. You could have a whole family out there somewhere, and you wouldn't even know about them. They might be worried sick, and oh, it's just too sad.
Mikhail seems torn up about this.
Hey, look, getting down about that isn't gonna help anyone, right? So let's not get sad. We're supposed to be everyone's protectors. That's why we're here. So we can protect everyone, especially the people that matter most to us. If we stand here moping about something as small as that, how are we going to survive a battlefield?
While I do see where he is coming from, and think it was a very inspirational mini-speech, I think that JC may have wanted to choose a few words of comfort instead. Regardless, it seemed to have the desired effect, and Mikhail bit his lip in response, nodding as he did so.
You're right. Sorry. Wow, that was downright motivational. Nice speech, JC.
Nat, a woman who desires to hold a shield, claps twice.
Yeah, maybe you should have went to a different academy and became a fancy-talking bigwig instead of coming here to swing his sword.
Carlos says, albeit clearly jokingly.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe if everyone can... Maybe if everything can become peaceful one day, I can start to protect everyone in a different way like that, using words and stuff.
I smile at this. Yes, I think that would be nice. And so time passed. Everyone got to know each other better, and they got to know their weapon of choice better as well. As we all steadily improved together, however, things became worse in the way that there was clear storm on the horizon. Metaphorically, however, the actual weather was normal, sometimes sunny, sometimes not. The real storm was the increasing tension between Flora and Eel. Everyone could see and feel it as well. Rookies were being sent on actual missions, and veterans that usually stayed around to teach others were sent far afield. Aside from that, however, everything was as normal as could be. Until one day I received a letter, the first letter I had received in my entire life so far. Hey, Callum! It feels so strange every time someone calls me by that false last name that JC created for me. It feels nice, but at the same time, it makes me feel slightly bad. Yes. A letter arrived for you? A letter. Yep, someone from someone in Dandelion. Here. He places the letter into my hands, then runs off to do the rest of his duties. Retreating to the comfort of the room that was provided for us initiates, I sit down on my bed and take a quick look around. Only one person remains inside the room with me. The crossbow-loving Eustace is asleep on his own bed, back turned to me. All right, it is fine if I do this now, then. Thinking that, I quickly turn one of my fingers into a letter opener. The blade swiftly opens the envelope, and my finger returns to normal just as quickly. The letter itself is removed far slower, though, as I do not want to accidentally crumple or fold it in any way, even though it was already folded to enable it to fit in there. Once it is fully removed, I can see exactly what is written on it and who it is from. To Jekka, hi. Long time no see, and no talk as well. Listen, I know everyone told you not to, but I don't think I have much time left. Since you two have been gone, everything's gotten worse. And I don't just mean that I'm lonelier. JC was almost always out of the house, so this is nothing new to me. It's my condition that got worse. JC already knows. I'm sure you noticed that he's been more stressed lately, but he wouldn't say anything, right? This is why. So listen, or well, read, I guess. Ugh, I don't feel like rewriting a whole letter just because I messed up a bit there. Whatever. Come back to Dandelion, please. No one here will ever let me go there. You're my only hope now. Please. I just want to see that lake surrounded by flowers just one more time. It's more important to me than anything right now. I don't care if I get any sicker. It's not like it'll matter. I'm already destined to die. So please, Jekka, please, come back and take me there. Please. From Aggie. P.S. Don't tell absolutely anyone about this. I see. I had thought it strange already that a letter had arrived for me and not JC, and yet the contents of this letter are even stranger. She sounds truly desperate, however, and yet I have no reason to comply. I have I have every reason not to, in fact. If my absence was noticed by anyone, I would get into a large amount of trouble. I would also be missing vital training. And yet, why is it that when I think of her face upon realizing that she has been refused, my chest seems to feel tight? How strange. I do not understand this at all. What was before an hour-long walk became a 5-minute leap. No longer being accompanied by a human being, I was free to get there in a more efficient manner. Not the most efficient, but I was able to appreciate the night sky this way. The same night sky I get to see every night. Unlike in the city where I had lived with Rel, the sky is so clear here. Free of light pollution, there is nothing to block or blot any of it out. The stars are all shining so brilliantly. Conversely, the town of Dandelion is not shining at all. Everyone is still asleep after all. Everyone except for one person, hopefully. I stand at the door, about to knock, but stop just before my fist hits the door. Wait, this would be a folly. Her parents would awaken if I were to knock. I back up a bit, then turn around and start to walk around to the other side of the house. From memory, her room should be the one on the second floor, at the very back of the left side of this house. I suppose I will have to climb up there. Doing exactly that, I easily scale the wall and begin to lightly tap on her window. As I do, an extremely late realization hits me. Hold on a moment. Of course it is a fantasy world and not an old one. When I first arrived here, that knight in bright white armor said something to me about mimics. No, she referred to me as possibly being a mimic. How did I miss such a simple fact? Before I could lament on this missight, I am instantly pulled out of those thoughts by Aggie's face appearing on the other side of the window. When I see her, I can see that she is indeed in terrible shape. Her skin color is almost white, close to mine and Rel's. A skin color that no healthy human being should ever have. The window opens just a quarter of the way before she starts to cough. I take it upon myself to open it the rest of the way, so that she need not exert more energy than needed.
So cute. Long enough.
My apologies for the delay is what I would say, but frankly, I am surprised that you are awake at all. You would always sleep well through the night and long into the morning as well, back when I lived here.
You talk too much. But you're right. I knew the letter would arrive around now, because JC told me they always deliver them really late. Unless the person is a known night owl, they usually just slip the letters under the door there. I know you barely sleep, and I also know you probably come straight away.
Incredible. She read me like an open book, despite the fact that I haven't seen her in many, many months now. I see. Come on then. We do not have all night.
Okay.
I help her climb out the window and into my arms. She wraps her arms around my neck, holding on in a far weaker way than I had expected from her. Aggie,
Shut up! Like I said, you talk too much. Let's just go.
all right. With that, I hop off of where I had been and land on the grass below. Please hang on as tight as... No, never mind. I will just hold you so that you do not fall. Gripping her tiny, frail body as tightly as I can without hurting her, I begin to leap high into the air while carrying her. As we travel far faster than any human could ever hope to on foot, she directs me where to go. Due to how long it had been since she had last been there, however, Her direction was extremely lacking. It took 2 hours to reach our destination, but when we did,
This is it. It's just like how I remember it, except all the flowers aren't blooming.
they will once the sun rises. Would you like to stay here until you can see all of them bloom? Now that I know the correct way to go, I will be able to get you home in a matter of minutes afterwards.
Yeah, this will be the last time I ever get to, so I'd like that.
And so we sit in silence, waiting for the sun to rise. I create, cut away, and then give her a coat to keep her warm as we wait. She does not thank me, but that is fine. As we wait there, I admire how beautiful it is in this spot. Even while they remain closed due to it being night, the pristine white flowers surrounding the lake seem beautiful to me. The lake itself seems to somehow be a perfect circle as well, with a forest of pine trees extending out a few feet away from where we sit at the edge of it. I know not how young she was when she last came here, nor who she came with. Yet at this moment, in this small tender moment in time, I am glad to share it with her, with this human being that I barely know, yet think fondly of for some strange reason. Look, the sun is beginning to rise. Rel once told me that that phrase makes so sense, yet it is nice. The sun does not rise, the planet merely rotates. It is an illusion of space that makes it seem as if it is rising above the horizon on every planet that orbits one. And yet, the false rising of the sun is undeniably beautiful, each and every one of them.
It's pretty, but I can't really look at it.
Yes, it is quite painful when you stare at it. Aggie looks away from the rising sun and to the flowers surrounding the two of us, eagerly awaiting their blooms. She stares, and eventually the petals open and reveal to us what is inside, and what is outside as well.
Wow, they're just as pretty as they were before.
She smiles wider than I have ever seen her smile before, as she gazes lovingly at the seemingly uncountable amount of flowers surrounding us. The white, now star-shaped blooms seem to dance in the breeze before her, as if to greet her. Her smile became her greeting back, as it was lit by the warm comfort of the sun, and at that moment, I decided that it would be fine to allow her to stay as long as she wanted to, as long as it took for her to become satisfied, having no need to be worried due to the note I left on my bed, instructing whoever it was to read it to lie and say that I had a migraine. I was safe to take as long as I wished to. For a moment, a brief and calm moment, I felt free.
I missed you, Dad.
We stayed there for as long as she wished to, and after that, I carried her home as I said I would. It went flawlessly, is what I wish I could say in regards to the trip back. However, when I opened the window to return Aggie to her room, I found both Ellen and Greta standing there, arms crossed, looking incredibly angry with me. I was heavily scolded for doing what I did, and she was yelled at as well. She yelled back at them and forced me to witness a heartbreaking fight. And yet, I do not regret doing what I did. Not one bit.
I can't believe it's really time for this. It feels like this year passed by in the blink of an eye. Or maybe that's just me. What do you think, Jekka?
I agree. It seemed to pass extremely quickly. Time will naturally feel as if it is passing faster if you repeat the same things every day. Without anything new to witness or learn, things will begin to blend together. This is one of the main things that I learned here. I learned many other things too, of course. All things that I assume you could learn about at any night academy in the world. Of course, this is all theory, as I have never attended another one, but I would posit that this experience was an average night academy experience. One that has all too soon come to an end. Our squad, being as closely knit as it has become, remained as it was after graduation in terms of who was on it. In terms of rank, however, we were no longer the initiates we had arrived as. Now fully fledged, yet still green soldiers, we were about to be sent to battle. Yes, not even a day passed after we stopped being initiates before we were forced into battle. A day both fortunate and unfortunate, both lucky yet unlucky. Lucky in the way that the battle had ended before our squad had even arrived at the site. Unlucky in the way that such a fight even happened to begin with. Instead of wounding others, we were relegated to assisting the wounded, most of which were other soldiers, yet I could spy a few townsfolk from this place. From a town I was not even told the name of. I thought it pointlessly cruel, all of it. The kingdom of Fora versus the kingdom of Eel. Over 10 years they have fought a pointless fight, with casualties growing ever higher, and fights between the two nations growing ever larger and more bloody. A war such as this will likely never be settled peacefully. It will only end once one side is completely annihilated, regardless of how many innocents are caught in the crossfire of that. It matters not to the ones instigating it. As I have learned during my time at the academy, there is no real point to it. Not a simple dispute over resources, but a complete opposition to the existence of the other nation. That is all that there is to this. A war brought into existence and formed purely from their hatred towards each other. A fight between two sets of royals that managed to drag the world down with them. What a sad and cruel fate that this world has to witness.
Ugh, I can't see a thing.
Shh, keep quiet. We're using this cover to our advantage, so if you make too much noise, you'll blow that.
Right, sorry.
As we walk through the foggy forest, I think about the last time we were sent to the site of a battle. The first time, in fact. At that time, we were sent solely because their scouts had been spotted near that town, and they wanted them to be driven away. This time, however, this second time, this is different. The sentries in this town spotted a large squadron marching towards the town we were currently in. A town that we had come to solely because of an assignment to oversee a cart full of supplies being delivered from Hone. And unlike that first one, the fight is not already over. It is only just beginning, and we are right in the epicenter of it. Wait, I thought the word we then, but where did everyone else go? I can no longer see anyone in this fog. It appears that while I was distracted, everyone else moved on, and due to the fact that this is a grassy area, I cannot see any tracks to follow. Well, this is a problem.
Oh, well, look who it is. So the monster decided to infiltrate the ranks and is now playing soldier? How laughably pitiful that they would fail to see through you, as expected of those idiotic foreigners.
I turn my head and look towards this familiar voice cutting through the fog, clearly speaking to me, and see a figure that I recall seeing a long time ago. A person who I was told was a woman, suited in bulky, intricately made, bright white armor. Oh, Laurent. Somehow, though she is wearing a helmet, I can tell that she is glaring at me. She seems somehow annoyed.
It's Laureate, you cur!
My apologies. I seem to have remembered your name wrong.
Don't apologize to me, you monster. I want nothing of yours save your head. Don't waste your breath giving me anything else, least of all your paltry apologies.
Laureate then removes her helmet, taking in a deep breath before actually glaring down at me. She looks at me as if I were a bug that she wished to crush beneath her heel. Understood. I will not apologize to you again, if that is what you wish. Her glare intensifies, as she seemingly grows even more angry at me.
That attitude of yours, along with how you speak. It's been so long since I first encountered it, yet it still manages to piss me off. You piss me off so badly, you know that? How the hell does anyone put up with you?
I do not know, but
I wasn't actually asking you that, damn it!
Having now completely lost her cool, Laureate lunges for me, as her last shred of patience burns away completely. I was caught off guard at this unexpected attack, falling backwards as I attempt to dodge the sword coming ever closer to me. My sword falls away from me as I land, and Laureate swiftly kicks it into the nearby bushes.
Pathetic!
Laureate looks down at me as she points her sword into my face.
Now I finally get to cut you to pieces. I wonder what your insides look like.
Her sword rests its tip upon my nose, and as it presses in, I decide to shut off every pain receptor in my body. And afterwards, I disable nearly every other receptor as well, not wanting to feel even a single bit of what may come.
You know, I've dreamt of this moment ever since that moment we first met.
That is a very morbid thing to dream about.
Stop speaking to me this instant, you disgusting and foul mimicry of a human!
Her sword moves from my face to my neck as I stare up at her. For just a brief moment, her gaze flickers towards the trees to her left before moving back to me. I am sure that I must appear to be worried right now, if not completely scared. I do not know what would happen if she was to pierce my head. I know for a fact that Rel made it so that I cannot die no matter what, but the thought of having my skull pierced worries me nonetheless. I know that my consciousness would remain in a shred of my body, no matter how much of it she manages to sever, and yet, existing in a state like that may as well be a fate worse than death, even if it would not be permanent for me. Thankfully, however, it seems that I do not need to worry about that. She moves her sword further down, tracing a bloody line down my neck and to the middle of my chest. After stopping, she immediately thrusts it inwards, stabbing right through my armor and my flesh. My eyes widen, but that is all I do in response. I am glad that I shut off my ability to feel.
What, do you not feel any pain? That makes this far less fun. I turned off my... I told you not to speak to me! Coldly yet angrily, Laureate withdraws the sword from the hole in my chest and slashes right through my neck with it. And though my chest injury was mostly concealed by the armor on my chest, the fresh one on my neck is not concealed at all. As she stares at it, she notices the blood as white as her armor gushing out from the cut. By the gods, what the hell is that? I had thought it to be the trick of the shining sun last we met, but is that blood or glue? You a grotesque golem made from someone's craft projects put together? As she asked, I do not respond. I simply let the insult go right over my head. At any rate, it's disgusting. You are really and truly disgusting, in a way that defies belief. Perhaps it even beggars it. I disagree. I will not say this out loud, of course, but I think it is fine that it is white. Even if it is only that way because Ralph forgot to give it any color, and I could not ask anything more from them. Theirs is the same color, and I think that matching in that way is nice as well. As I mentally rebuke their insult, I mend the wounds in my body and remove the stains of blood. After finishing this task, I begin to stand, but am immediately met with another swing of her sword. Would it kill you to stay down, monster? Or rather, judging by how all your wounds have all but disappeared, it might be more accurate to ask if anything can kill you. Venom seems to be deeply embedded within every word she jabs me with. And I know that it may be a bad idea, but I want to reply this time. I must make it short and concise, however, as she will yell if I speak too much once again. No. With the delivery of that line, as emotionless as always, I begin to stand once again. Her sword remains embedded in my chest as I move, but it does not stop me from standing. Once I reach my full height, which is still quite a bit below hers, I look up and stare right into her eyes, and at that moment I decide to get her name wrong once again. This time, however, on purpose. Sir Laurent, I am afraid that I cannot allow this to continue any longer. If you do not cease this, I will be forced to retaliate against you. I am sick of this situation. Words will not resolve it. Just like the war between Fora and Eel, it is fueled by a pure hatred of another. Unlike that, however, this hatred is not mutual. Retaliate, you say? And with what? Your weapon is gone. As I am sure that you are well aware, I am a weapon. Perhaps one day I will become more than that, as Rel wished I would. But as for now, this is all that I am. Nothing more than a tool, a weapon to hurt others. Laureate's eyes dart to the trees for a brief second once more. I begin to turn my head to see what may be there, but when I do, she brutally removes her sword from me, before cutting the same spot yet again. Eyes on the prize, scum! If you're gonna fight me, then do it. Let's not waste any more time, shall we? She clearly wishes for me to fight. Yet she also clearly does not want me to look in that direction. Putting this information together, it is now apparent that someone is watching this fight. Likely one of my squad mates. Someone besides JC. As if it were him,
He would have stepped in to help me ages ago. Ah, I see. I get the picture now. The reason why she kept going and did not attempt to finish me off. The reason why she is goading me into fighting her like this now. She simply wanted me to prove to my squad mates that I am an inhuman monster. In fighting back, even just standing up like this, I was forced to out myself. I was played for a fool. I had hoped to one day tell everyone on my own, and in a far better situation than one such as this, but that will never come to be now. I suppose it cannot be helped. As I said before, this situation cannot be allowed to continue any longer. All right. And so, in full view of whoever may be watching, I swing my arm to my side. In that one swift motion, I change it into a steel longsword from the bottom of my elbow down.
There it is! I knew you could do something like this! Oh gods, I've been waiting for this moment!
Now in a strange frenzy, Laureate swings her sword down at me once more. This time, however, I block it with my own. Her strength is far greater than I assumed it would be, but after a bit of effort, I manage to push her back.
Oh, nice block!
Thank you. Rebounding in a matter of seconds, she charges at me once more. I make my best attempt to deflect her attack, succeeding in throwing her off to the side. Not waiting even a second, she returns to my personal space and throws blow after blow at me. I do my best to reflect every single one of them, but she eventually hits me so hard that I once again fall down. As I look up, I see her armored foot meet my chest as her blade is positioned at my head once again. I close my eyes and brace myself for the worst, feeling fear as I do. I do not want to receive a blow to the head. I do not want that at all. Yet I know that no matter what I try at this moment, there is no way that I would be able to block it entirely. I brace myself and wait, and yet no decisive slice arrives. As I look up, when I open my eyes, I see her frozen mid-swing, her eyes glaring at something behind us. I tilt my head as she stares. At this time, she does not stop me. Standing there, bow and arrow aimed right at her head, is one of my squad mates. It is Mikhail. He is here, and looks incredibly stressed.
Get the hell away from my friend!
He shouts at her after mustering up the courage to do so. But what? Huh? He is not afraid?
Get away, now, or I'll turn your head into a kebab with this! You should talk big game from your archer. Fine though, I shall relent, if only because I presumed that this thing wouldn't die even if I cut its head off. Yes, it probably can't be killed by conventional means at all. And so I'll take my leave for now. The next time I see you, you abhorrent cur, I'll make sure that you breathe no more.
She spits at my face as she removes her foot from my body, then stomps off into the wilderness, leaving the two of us alone. The second that her stomps are out of earshot, Mikhail finally lowers his bow and walks over to me. Arms and legs shaking, he crouches down.
Are you okay?
Yes, I will be fine.
So, was that magic, or?
I sigh as he helps me to stand, and do my best to explain it to him as quickly and concisely as I possibly could. Having no reason to even attempt to hide due to him having seen me in action, I told him the truth. And somehow, he reacted rather positively. He took it about as well as JC did.
Wow, it really did heal completely. Wait, so your armor is part of you too?
Yes, I mimicked the set that I was given and disposed of it for my own convenience.
That's incredible.
Eventually, we managed to find everyone else in the fog once more. A few were a bit battered, but no one seemed to be worse for wear. I learned that the enemy retreated soon after their clash began, as Laureate was no longer interested in fighting.
Wait, so you fought with Sir Laureate?
Yes, it was a bit rough, but thanks to Mikhail intervening, nothing too bad occurred.
Nothing too bad. She stabbed you so many times. Oops. Huh? But he's not injured at all. Um,
Mikhail stammers and looks away from everyone else, unable to think of how to amend his mistake. I sigh once more, and JC grabs my attention after I finish doing so.
Jekka, did she really?
Yes, it is true. I did not fight back that well. I only really defended myself.
Where did you get? Oh,
JC realizes what I had done and exactly what had happened, and clams up.
alright, what gives? No secrets, we all promised. But no secrets.
Another of our archers, Gordon, looks me dead in the eyes as he says this. It seems that once again, I have no choice. All right, then I will tell you the truth, and that truth is that I have hidden a secret from you since the day we met, from everyone except for JC.
Wait, so you two really are? No, we're not talking about that. Shut up about that, Carlo.
JC shuts down his interruption before I can even begin to try. Ahem. Well then, the truth is that I am not human. Everyone is silent, and they remain silent for a few moments until Carlo shatters that silence.
What?
I am not a human being.
Yeah, we heard that, but what do you mean? What?
Here, watch. I will turn my sword into an arm. Ah, my tongue slipped. I will turn my arm into a sword from the elbow down. I do exactly that, as everyone except for JC and Mikhail watch in amazement.
How the hell did you do that? Is that still real? Wait, so you can use magic?
No, that's not magic at all. The one carrying our medical supplies, Pierce, was more unsettled than anyone else. Correct. It is simply an ability that I have, as I am a shapeshifter. That would be the easiest way to classify myself, after all. At this moment, perhaps living weapon would be more accurate, but in terms of what I was supposed to be, what I was created to be able to do, shapeshifter would fit the best. After a brief moment of silence, everyone once again began to ask me things. A few remained unnerved by this revelation, but no one seemed scared. No one hated me for it. However, that was not the worst of it. Upon returning back to the capital, some of the more loose-lipped members of our squad made short work of accidentally spreading a rumor. Unable to keep it a secret, they accidentally revealed my true nature to others, and it quickly overtook the tongues of everyone working as a knight there. And then it spread further. In less than a week, every single person in Hone had heard tale of the shapeshifter pretending to be human, mixed in with the knights and pretending to be one of their own. And I was scared. I was scared that I would be discarded and thrown out, that I would be feared and reviled, or worst of all, that I would be attacked once more, this time by the ones I know personally. During the day, I would do my best to act like usual, but at night, the fear would be too much to bear. Nearly every night I was too afraid to even leave my room. On a select few of those nights, JC would attempt to comfort me. Were it not for his fingers in my hair, his hands rubbing my back, and his voice telling me that it would one day be all right, I may not have made it through that time. Not with my mentality intact and the same. At any rate, those days spent living in fear soon came to a close when I was summoned to the castle. Upon stepping into the throne room, I found myself in a room with the princess and her personal guard. I had heard rumors about her before, but this was my first time seeing her in person. Ch03, the princess with the hair the color of the autumn leaves, one who smelled like sweet pumpkin and had beauty that would rival that of the moon. It seems that at the very least, the one about her hair color was correct.
Ch03,
She announces in a clear, calm voice. I feel simultaneously relaxed and ill at ease every time someone uses that false last name. And in this situation, that small discomfort is amplifying the discomfort that I already had.
there are many rumors swirling about you, as you are no doubt aware.
She unfurls a hand fan and begins to wave it, fanning herself as she speaks. Yes, I am aware.
As I thought, that makes this easier. Now address those rumors for me. Tell me, and tell me only the truth. Ch03, are you human?
No, I am not human at all. I am sorry to have deceived everyone.
I didn't expect you to admit that so easily, let alone apologize.
The guards take offensive stances and raise their weapons at me after the princess says those words. She snaps her fan shut and points at me with it before speaking once more.
Guards, lower your weapons and leave the two of us alone in here.
Princess!
Do not question me. It is clear that he means us no harm, or he wouldn't have apologized. Now go and take a well-deserved break.
They mumble a bit, but obediently do as instructed. And then there were two.
So, Jekka, what exactly are you? What can you do? And what are you here for?
I wonder if everyone in this country is just strangely accepting of monsters, or perhaps I am the exception. I am a shapeshifter, to put it plainly. I can turn any part of my body into anything I wish, and due to how I was created, I cannot die. And as for what I am here for, well, that is not really complicated, but she furrows her brow at me as she stares with a gaze so intense that it almost feels as if she could bore a hole straight through me.
Go on.
I am only here because JC wanted me to come with him.
JC?
He is one of the knights in my squad, a boy with curly, reddish-brown hair and many freckles on his face and body. You see, when I first arrived in this world, I was stopped by 2 knights passing by. JC had been watching the encounter, and along with me, had been told to leave the area. When I followed after him, I found him being choked by the famous White Knight of Eel. She soon dropped him, attacked me, learned of my true nature, then left. JC invited me to come to his home with him afterwards, and I have stayed with him ever since.
Well now, that's quite the story there.
She smiles as she begins to descend the staircase, her heels making a dull sound as they tap against them. When she reaches the floor where I stand, I quickly realize how small she is in comparison to me. About a full head smaller, maybe more. It reminds me of how tiny Aggie is.
So, you've really gone up against Sir Laureate twice now, then.
Our eyes meet, and I can see myself in hers. I really do look strange. Yes, she is quite scary. Nothing can kill me, but she is still extremely terrifying.
Nothing can kill you? That's quite a bold thing to say. You know that? You know what?
What is it, Your Majesty?
I really like you.
Thank you. She winks as she moves closer to me, her face moving into my personal space. It makes me feel quite uncomfortable.
You may stay. Forever. As long as you wish to.
Oh,
You don't even have to stay in the barracks anymore. I'll have a special room prepared for you here in the castle. A room all for you and all the luxuries that come with it.
that is a kind offer, Your Majesty, but I am afraid I will have to decline.
Why?
I would not want to leave JC behind. That is my only reason.
Oh, is that all? Sure, whatever then. I'll just get him a room too. It can be right next to yours if you want.
I see. Then I will go back on that and accept your offer. Thank you, Your Majesty. JC will surely be happy about this promotion. Thinking this and feeling as if the conversation is just about over, I turn around.
Just a moment.
What is it, Your Majesty? I turn around once again, and when I do, she comes far too close to me once more.
You don't have to be so formal with me. Just Onji is fine.
Then, what is it, Onji?
Oh, I like how it sounds when you say my name. What I had wanted to say was that effective immediately, I will be promoting you. You will no longer be in that squad of green initiates. Instead, you will be moved into an elite unit more befitting of someone as thoroughly capable as you. I think your natural abilities will come in handy there.
It seems that I do not have a choice in regards to this promotion. I see. Thank you.
You don't seem pleased. You probably want your little friend to come along with you, huh? I suppose that I can allow this. He isn't really experienced or useful enough to be in an elite unit, but I can simply make something up, saying that he has great potential that shines through, or something like that. That should work. And so, with that, he will be coming with you. So don't make such a sad face, alright?
I do not like how she slightly insulted him, but all right. I try my best to smile for her. She looks mildly surprised when I do, but that surprise morphs into elation after a second passes. Her lips curl into a radiant smile, and her entire face looks more charming as a result. It seems that being a princess allows you to smile more beautifully than anyone else, while using just a fraction of the effort. What a convenient power.
Jekka! Oh, you don't look as tense. What happened?
I come bearing good news.
You can stay? Oh wait, why am I doing their voices? Oh, I messed up. Sorry, I'm sorry. Jekka! Oh, you don't look as tense. What happened?
I come bearing good news.
You can stay?
More than that, the two of us are being promoted, effective immediately. We are also getting new lodging in the castle itself, courtesy of Princess Onji.
Are you for real? If I didn't know you, I'd ask if you threatened her or something.
I did not, of course. She seemed to like me for some reason, and offered all of this out of nowhere. I saw no reason to decline, since she was to give these things to both of us, and so I accepted.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe she recognized not just you, but me too. And here I thought I had been underperforming in comparison to everyone else.
She said that there was a certain potential within you that she wanted to see brought out. A small lie, yet one that is close to the truth. She did say that she would state that as her reasoning as to why JC of all people was getting this treatment, after all. It is also perhaps a dangerous lie, come to think of it. Perhaps I should not persist in—
That's totally amazing. I didn't really think I did, but if the princess somehow could see it, I wonder what it was that she saw me. She usually doesn't ever leave the castle.
I would not know.
I know, but oh man, this is too great. It's too exciting.
And yet, for some reason, I do not feel excited at all.
Jekka, Jekka, are you awake?
I am, as of now.
Great. Sit up, but don't open your eyes.
Why?
Just do it.
Alright. Keeping my eyes closed, I decide to stretch my legs out a bit on the bed before doing as JC asked. After doing so, I sit up while my eyes remain shut.
Good. Now hold out your hands.
I wordlessly obey, and after a moment, I feel something begin to rest atop my hands. What is it?
Open your eyes and find out.
I do so, and see that I am now holding what appears to be a very large and long black piece of clothing, lined with fluffy white fur. Beyond that, however, I have no clue of anything else. Again, what is it?
Jeez, just unfold it and you'll see. But if you really just want to know, it's a hooded cloak. I made it for you. Just For you, in fact.
You made this.
Yeah, I picked up a few things from one of my moms over the years, so. Anyway, I thought that you could use something to keep you warm. I know that you always just make clothes out of your own body and all, but I wasn't sure how warm you were in doing so. And winter's coming up soon, so. I'm not into this sappy stuff.
I laugh at his expense, and he stares wide-eyed at me as I do so. What is it?
I think that's the first time I've ever heard you laugh.
It was.
Yeah, it was nice to hear it.
Thank you for saying so, and thank you for this gift. I shall eternally treasure it, and due to my inability to die, that is not an exaggeration. What was thought to be a lie about the potential that JC had turned out to be a truth. He indeed held a great amount of potential, which was swiftly unleashed when his options broadened and he was provided with teachers of a higher quality. I, however, had none. My skills in comparison to his were less than satisfactory, but my ability to shapeshift more than made up for that. At first, both of us were quickly promoted again and again, being sent to units of higher and higher ranks. Eventually, however, only I was given these ascensions. Only I was given the position at the top of their military, being praised by the king himself for my deeds that in reality were quite meager. A few battles won, and a few people helped. That is all that I was able to accomplish, yet I was lavishly rewarded, undeservedly. Being singled out due to my inhumanity, I was given the title of Special Unit, which consisted of only myself. And due to the black cloak I would now wear everywhere, I was given the nickname Black Wolf. I think that this nickname did a lot to push my false intensity in battle. All of this is written in my journal, which remains at my bedside here. My journal that, besides those few paragraphs, remains empty. Only important things should be written down to be remembered in these, after all. It feels weird today. Looking out the window, I noticed that gray clouds had rolled in overnight. It may rain soon. Turning my eyes away from the window, I noticed that there is more bread on my table today. An entire basket filled with various types of bread sits there, its warmth long since faded. For a while now, Onji has been having servants bring me these daily. I do not require food to remain alive, though I enjoy it at times, and yet she insisted on doing this when I said as much. I did not understand it at first, but after conferring with JC multiple times, I now do. She is trying extremely hard to win me over. Multiple times now, she has even asked me to become hers and hers alone. I could not do that, though. I will continue to decline every time she asks. For even though I am a freelancing tool working for her family at the moment, the fact remains that I have only one person I would ever consider to be my owner. No, wait. I am supposed to stop thinking things like that. Yet no matter how hard I try, I seem to keep slipping back into that mindset. At this rate, I may never be able to return to Rel. Sighing deeply at that thought, I take one of the bread pieces and put it into my mouth without even looking to see which one I grabbed. Ugh, I do not even want to chew this. Thinking that, I decide to just unhinge my jaw and swallow it whole. Mm. It tastes the same as always. Another sigh escapes my lips as I trudge over to my sink, then turn it on. I watch the water pour from the spout for a few seconds before finally putting a cup underneath of it, letting it fill until it begins to overflow. One final sigh later, and I turn the sink off, dispose of the excess water, then swallow the entire cup full of it. It feels colder than usual, yet tastes the same. All right. I put the cup into the sink, then step back to where the bed is. As I sit down on it once more, I rearrange the clothing on my body, forming it into my usual pitch black armor. Armor as black as my hair and eyes were when I was first formed, yet far shinier. Mr. Callum! Mr. Callum! A loud, panicked voice accompanies a loud, panicked knock at my door. It seems that something has occurred. I am coming. Hold on. But before I can even make it to the door, the voice yells once more. Enemies! Front gate! Emergency! Please assist! And with that, the person yelling takes off. I can tell without even opening the door as the clanking of their armor gets further and further away. Enemies at the front gate. Here, in the capital. How? No, I suppose it does not matter how. Grabbing my hooded cloak and donning it as I move, I quickly go to the door and leave my room. As I begin to run down the hall, I realize something that makes me stop in my tracks. By the time I get there, they will have long since breached the castle. I know our troops, and I know precisely how those stationed there could hold out for. With that logic, I can safely say that they are already in here. The king, queen, and Anji are a danger. Spinning around, I run in the direction opposite of the one that I had first intended to. After making it to the king and queen's private chambers, I open the door, and then, without thinking, I enter the room without making my presence known or saying anything. And because of that folly, the king attacks me the second that I take one step in. The second that the blade of the axe enters the side of my torso, my eyes widen and I turn off my pain receptors. Then, upon seeing my face and body, he immediately retracts his weapon from my body. He completely withdraws it, holding it at his side and looking at me apologetically. Oh, oh dear, I knew not that it was you, Callum. My body was very nearly cleaved in half, and my blood has been sprayed all along the wall and floor here. And yet this is all he can say. I barely felt the pain due to my quick response, however, and so, it is fine. I will be fine. Do not worry. I know that, but it's still disconcerting to see and watch that. My apologies, Your Majesty. I reconnect the parts of my body that were nearly torn apart from each other and begin to mend the wound internally as we speak. Looking around the room, I see the queen in the corner, holding a crossbow, and yet there is no trace of someone else. Where is the princess? Silence is my only answer at first. That is not good. Silence in situations such as this is never good. Finally, after a few moments of waiting, the queen spoke up.
She was taken. Last night there was a break-in. When we went to bid her a good night and a restful sleep, we found a ransom note instead of our lovely rose. We had intended to have the payment delivered later in the day, but I suppose they decided they didn't want it after all. And now all of these awful nights are here, and in so many of our towns and cities.
She sounds as if she is about to cry, not particularly wanting to watch that, as I am not good in situations that require emotional comfort. I turn around and begin to leave. Before I can fully exit the door, however, the king weakly grasps at my cloak from behind. I stop as he does so, allowing him to speak once more.
Please, Callum, rescue her. You are her only hope.
I am not. You have a large plethora of many other capable knights and warriors. You should not be relying on me and only me. All right, but I cannot say any of that out loud. Instead of immediately going to save her, I decided to take a small detour first and go back to where my room is located. A few Elan soldiers block my path as I go, but I easily knock them out and send them into the realm of dreams. After a bit of a walk, I finally make it to my own door. Stepping a bit further down the hall once I do, I move to JC's door, easily opening the door that he never locks. JC, please wake up. As expected, no one bothered to ask him to help fight anyone off. Even now, despite how much he has improved, everyone looks down on him, and not just because she is short. I will never understand exactly why they think less of him, solely due to this. Wake up now. It is important. And yet he does not, and so I decide to wake him up in the simplest way I know of. I put my hands on his waist, grab him by his pajamas, and roll him towards me until he falls right off of the bed. He lands in front of my feet with a thud, awakening him very quickly. He did not appear to be startled by waking up in this way, but upon looking up and seeing me there, suddenly became startled. Does he wake up in this way often?
Jekyll, what are you?
I am sorry to have caused a rude awakening, but there is an emergency.
Emergency?
Yes, please, I see that you are already going to get dressed. Then I will appraise you of the situation as you do. Enemy invaders have suddenly come and invaded this castle without warning. Besides this castle, they are also creating havoc in the capital itself, and many towns and cities that were not named to me. He stops for a moment there, then begins to move even faster as he dons his armor. The princess has also been taken. She was taken earlier last night and replaced with a ransom note, but it appears that the note was a ruse to get us to let our guards down. Naturally, since they were demanding something in exchange for her, no one thought they would pull a stunt like this at this moment, and yet
they did. They're here, and now we have to go and protect everyone.
Yes, except for me.
What?
Please do not look at me like that. Ordinarily, I would fight with you without hesitation, but the king and queen have personally asked me to retrieve their daughter.
Oh. Oh. I see. Well, go ahead and get going then.
Yes, I should. And yet for some reason, I feel as though I do not know.
You don't know why you're hesitating?
I do not.
Well, I don't know either, because I don't know everything about you, or anyone else for that matter. But what I do know is that I want you to go and do your best, because everyone's counting on you. The princess is included in that everyone that I want to protect, and you're probably the only person that could invade the Ealing Castle alone and come out alive.
Alone, yes, but...
But nothing, go! Let's both go, and let's both do our best to protect everyone. To do what matters most to us at the moment, alright?
Alright, let us depart then.
Angelica, don't worry about us here, just focus on your own mission. Until this one becomes yours, try not to even think about it at all. Just trust in us. You know how strong me and everyone else is now. Believe in us. We can handle driving off these invaders easy peasy.
Yes, I fully believe in you. And that was not a lie. I really did believe him. Hopping on and off of buildings and trees, seeing an abnormally large amount of fighting on the ground as I do, I quickly make my way to Eel. Despite how dark the mood is now, and how somber this day should be, the sun itself is shining as brightly as ever. In stark contrast to the events happening in Fora, the cloudless morning is a radiant blue. Easily maneuvering around the guard patrols, I leapt to the outskirts of their capital town and looked at the castle in the distance, similar in structure to the one in Fora, yet made of a lighter stone. It stood proudly over the town below it, and all around it were many, many knights. It seemed that even though they have sent such a large force to invade, they did not skimp out on their defenses either. I wonder just how many soldiers they have in comparison to us, for we did not have nearly as many as they seem to have. Getting past all of them here will be tough. Or it would be, if I were not the shapeshifter that I am. Blinking and looking up, I remember that my cloak will not shapeshift with me. I need to keep it safe, though. With those words, I decide to scale a nearby tree that is dead and decayed, and tie a part of it to its highest branch. After making sure that it is properly secured, I descend from that tree and start to walk to the north. It is time to infiltrate the castle of Eel. With those words, I begin to change the structure of my entire body for the first time in a very long time, starting with my feet and slowly going up to my head. I slowly make my entire body become invisible as I walk. After I succeed in doing so, I begin to stumble slightly as I walk, as it is a bit hard to see when invisible, due to how the ability of sight is mostly gained from when light enters pupils. And when your pupils are not really there, that makes everything a bit harder for them. Luckily, I am not human, so I can simply edit how they work slightly. I am not, however, a miracle worker though, and cannot figure out how to make my eyes work perfectly when like this. Perhaps one day, but today is not that day. And so, a bit more than half blind. I eventually get to the main steps of the castle. I walk up them without an issue, and the knights standing guard at the door do not even blink as I approach. And it is only when I approach that I realize that I cannot open the door without alerting them. Damn, now I have to walk all the way back down. Frowning with invisible lips as I do so, I walk all the way back down, then look back at the castle once more. All of the windows seem to be closed as well, so there seems to be no entrance. Opening a window would be less obvious than opening a door, but it would still make a noise, so the chance of someone being alerted would be high. I would prefer that no one would learn of my presence, and so, what shall I do? Ah, I have got it. After walking towards one of the windows on the right side of the castle, I jump up onto the windowsill and crouch down. Directly afterwards, I begin to shape-shift my form into a liquid, only to stop after just a second of doing so. Ugh! Biting my lip to stop myself from crying out anymore, I revert back as quickly as I can and try not to throw up. I eliminate my ability to feel nauseated, then eliminate the hole that I have created in my own lip from biting so hard. Ugh, I had forgotten how awful that feels. It is simply just the worst. I cannot imagine having to live as a slime or some sort of liquid elemental being. I hate the feeling of doing anything as a liquid so much. It is worse than nearly anything. Ugh. After taking a minute to catch my breath and calm down after that, I turn off my ability to feel anything at all, then fully turn myself into a puddle of liquid. Remaining invisible even like this, I slosh and slowly move myself into the crack underneath the window and grow right through. My liquid body makes a very audible splashing sound as I hit the floor inside, and sure enough, someone notices immediately. What was that noise? A servant wearing the uniform of a butler walks near me, stopping and looking around the hall. Seeing nothing spilled onto the floor, and nothing seeming wrong, he scratches his curly hair and turns around. I guess I'm just hearing things again. It's not good. I think I have accidentally... No, it does not matter. Regardless, though, I wish I were able to erase my ability to make sounds as well. Something like that would only be possible for my masked Rel, though, and not for me. Once he is out of sight, or as close to sight as I have at the moment, I reform my invisible body as quickly as I possibly can. After taking a few steps, I remember to turn my ability to feel things back on, which makes existing a bit more comfortable. Speaking of comfort, I should change my clothing here. The clanking of armor will be very easily audible, and it is not that comfortable even to fight in. What should I do? Ah, I have got it. I do not intend to fight, so a formal yet ordinary outfit shall work well. I change my outfit in a matter of seconds, then begin my search, sneaking around the castle and searching for Onji. I begin by scouring the first floor, then moving to the second. Upon not finding her there, I looked on the third and fourth, and found no trace of Onji. At that point, I had began to wish that I had gotten to look at the ransom note, I know not what was on it, but I suspect it could have at least given me a clue to her location. I went down to the library and then the throne room, not finding her. Becoming annoyed and wondering where she could possibly be being held, I continued to sneakily run around as fast as I could, sweeping the entire castle once more. And yet, I did not find her. Beginning to suspect that this may have been a farce, and that she may not even be at the castle, I begin to stop caring, and go to open a window for fresh air. Upon doing so, however, I spy people in the intricate and beautiful garden that lays in the centers of the castle. Multiple guards are stationed throughout it, and standing there, in the middle of it, is a very familiar figure, one that I, under no circumstances, want to fight at the moment. She is here. She is right there. The White Knight, Laurent. No, Laureate. Today of all days, I absolutely do not want to fight her. Besides being on this mission, I also need to get back to JC quickly so that I may help him and everyone else. And on top of even that, I have had enough of getting sliced into by her. Far more than enough. And wait, is that? It is. Sitting there, a small distance from her, and partly covered from my view by the leaves of a tree, is the very person I have been looking for all this time. It is Onji. Even from the back and partly obscured, her visage is unmistakable to me. After all of the times I have had to see her throughout my time in this world, it would be amazing if I could somehow not recognize her in an instant. All right, it is time. Formulating a small plan as I go, I once again turn into a liquid, this time remembering to turn off my ability to feel before doing so. I pass under the window and land right beside a guard that I had not seen, feeling nervous as he looks around. The hell was that splash? What? You didn't hear that? Hear what? Luckily for me, however, the other one I had not known was here until he had begun to speak up, had not been paying attention at all. He did not hear me at all, somehow, due to being too absorbed in his own thoughts. Huh, guess I imagined it then. I remain invisible as I deliquify myself once more, then begin to move towards where Loria and Onji are. While doing so, I admire the work done on this garden. Don't worry about it, Wayne. I imagine stuff all the time. Just gets so boring out here. Yeah, not to mention hot. I'm boiling in this armor here. As I get further away, luckily for me, their conversation becomes less audible. Once I make it to where those two are, I find that they are both remaining silent. Neither has anything to say to the other. Feeling cautious, I decide to move directly in front of Laureate and wave my right hand in front of her helmet's visor. There is no reaction. Good. I make my way over to where Unji is sitting and whisper something into her ear. Do not react to this and do not be afraid. Doing as I instruct, she does not move a muscle. She does not even bat an eye. If it were not for the fact that she is blinking and clearly awake and alert, I would wonder if she had even actually heard me. All right, it is time. Getting into position behind her, I crouch down a bit and put my arms around her. And then, with a powerful charge and a leap right after, I carry her right out of that garden and onto the roof. When Onji begins to apparently fly, Laureate makes a noise that I cannot describe as she looks up in surprise. I can only suspect that underneath her helmet, that surprise melts into rage as I make myself visible once more, as she stares up at me, holding the princess that she was supposed to be keeping captive. I look down back at her and give her the most smug smile I can manage. And the princess in my arms begins to hug me, nuzzling her face into my neck in a way that I do not really appreciate or like.
I knew you would save me. Oh, you really are the best. Everything I already knew you were and more.
Yes, yes. I am going to take you home now, so please hang on. And then I turn around and leap away. The guards all begin to quickly mobilize as I do, but they have no chance of catching up to me, human as they are. Before fully leaving the vicinity of the castle, I stop at that old and dead tree. My cloak is still swaying in the breeze at the top of it, and as I look up at it, I see that clouds have begun to accumulate in the distance. They are probably going to cover the sky and Fora in just a few minutes from now. Onji, if you would be so kind, since my hands are full, would you hold this for me until we get back? I would very much appreciate it. I know I told you to hang on, but
Oh, your cloak? Don't worry about it. I'll hold it as tightly as I can. And I won't let go of you either. You don't have to tell me not to. I wouldn't even if you hadn't asked.
I see. Thank you.
Don't mention it. Or do, actually. I really wish you'd praise and compliment me more. But then again, everyone but you does that already. Maybe you're not praising me as part of what.
I really must get you home quickly, before your parents worry more, so I am going to begin leaping again now. Please hold on.
Oh, alright.
She stops talking, finally, and I begin to make my way back to whatever. The trip goes by slower now that I have a human in my arms to worry about, but it still goes relatively quickly. Soon enough, I am back in the castle town, seeing the bloodshed that occurred in my absence.
All of this happened after I was taken? This is awful.
Onji quietly comments on the carnage as I leap from rooftop to rooftop, not stopping until we are back on castle grounds. The fighting seems to have stopped already, or perhaps come to a ceasefire, so I do not bother worrying about anyone firing upon us. All right, I will put you down now.
Not yet, please. Keep holding me like this just a bit longer.
Fine. Then I will carry you back to your parents' room, then.
Okay.
I make my way to their room as fast as I possibly can, and when we get to the door, she finally allows me to put her down. She sighs as she smiles at me, then goes to open the door. Wait! Alarmed and remembering what happened to me when I entered without knocking, I grab her arm and take it away from the door. Please allow me.
Oh, alright. I didn't know that people still bought into that thing about a gentleman opening a door for a lady. How nice of you.
Please stop talking. Of course, I cannot actually say this, but please. Knocking on the door before I open it, I decide this time to announce my presence. Your Majesty, I have returned. At that, the doors swing open before I have the chance to open them myself. My eyes widen in surprise as the king stands before me, tears in his eyes. I knew it was your voices that I heard, and yet I couldn't believe it until just now. Oh, my dear and lovely flower, I'm so happy that you're all right. He hugs his beloved daughter, and the queen runs out and does the same right after. What a nice and touching scene. Please allow me to leave you to it, as there is. Thank you, Kalam. Thank you so much. I don't know if I'll ever be able to repay this debt, even if it took me my entire life. The king attempts to indebt himself to me, and yet I do not want that. You are welcome, but there is no need for that. You have nothing to repay. And with those words I run off, not waiting for the reply that was sure to come. I have already dilly-dallied long enough. JC is waiting for me. I burst out of the nearest window, landing with a short roll, then run down to where many people in the capital lay wounded in the streets. I see many people being taken away by makeshift stretchers made of wood and cloth, and others standing around chatting. One knight appears to be standing upright, yet is clearly injured. Excuse me. Oh, Kalam, sir! Was your mission successful? Yes, but I have an inquiry. Please tell me, have you seen JC around? JC? No, I haven't. He wasn't around here. I see. Thank you. I head off and ask multiple others that I see about him, but it seems that none at all have seen him. I think it strange, but keep going, not giving up on my search for anything. Eventually, I reach the area near the gate that we used to first walk into this place all that time ago. And there, I see Mikhail standing with an injured and bleeding arm. Mikhail, long time no see.
Cheka?
Yes, it is me. Please tell me, have you seen JC around here?
No, I haven't. Sorry. I only just got here.
That is all right.
Excuse me?
A young shopkeeper wearing a long dress and an apron beckons me over to her shop, and having no progress with this knight, I decide to oblige her.
I happened to overhear you over there. You're looking for JC?
You know him.
Of course I do. He comes all the time for supplies.
Supplies? I look up and see that it is a crafting store, selling various things such as papers, glues, scissors, yarns, threads, and all sorts of other things. I see. I did not know that.
He actually got the stuff he used to make that cloak you're wearing right here.
Oh, did he? That is... I am not sure what to say, but I do feel somewhat happy.
That's good. A happy customer is better than a sad one. Except, you're not really a customer. And smiling for everyone despite what mood I'm in gets so tiring. Anyway, if you're looking for JC, I saw him run right out the gate there a long while back.
He ran away from the fighting here.
Strange, right? He would always talk about wanting to protect people, and yet...
No. Not wanting to hear what she said next, I ran and then leapt. Moving as quickly as I could, I rushed back to his hometown of Dandelion. Running away from the battle. That does not sound like JC at all. And yet, it absolutely does. He wanted to protect everyone, yes. But the entire reason he wanted to become a knight was to protect his mothers and sister by ending the war. That was all he ever wanted, for his family to be happy and safe. Enemy forces were coming en masse. They were swarming in the capital, and Dandelion is just a small distance away. An hour-long walk, yes, but by horseback it is nothing, and it is a stepping stone for when one is coming to the capital from Ile, anyhow. Of course he would run from that battle. He had a more important one here. Of course JC would come here. He would come to protect those three in a heartbeat. I was a fool for not thinking about that. Everyone was. JC, where are you? A few of the injured townsfolk gave me strange looks as I shouted and ran through the town. Injured knights and invading ones did the same. And yet I did not care. All I could care about was finding him. And soon I did. And when I saw him, I had no idea what to say. The meager amount of hope that I had was dashed in a heartbeat. He lay there on the ground, next to the corpses of 3 Elan knights. Completely missing an arm, he lay there, his glazed eyes facing the sky. Just from looking at him, I could tell that even if I had medical supplies, or created some, he is far too injured. His breathing is shallow, and he has already lost far more blood than a human ever should. There is no way that he will survive.
Jackal, is that you?
Even his voice is warped. He struggles to breathe as he slowly speaks. And I still cannot respond with words. Instead, all I can do is drop to my knees beside him. When I do, he reaches up with his single, trembling arm. His hand brushes against, then cups my cheek, inadvertently smearing blood onto it as he does.
I can't see anything anymore. I wasn't sure at first when I heard those footprints, but I can tell now it's you. I didn't know you anywhere. You feel different from everyone else.
His fingers gently rub my cheek as he shifts his head towards where he thinks my head is. My eyes begin to finally water as he does, my monstrous white tears beginning to form. And as they do, the non-existent curse is lifted, and I am finally able to reply.
Yes, it is me. I am here for you.
My voice uncharacteristically shaky, I finally speak to him.
Yeah, I know it. I'm glad.
His hand goes stiff, then droops down, landing beside his legs on the earth below. After watching that, I decide to move his head onto my lap, replicating what he once did for me, and simultaneously attempting to make his last moments more comfortable.
Do not worry. I will not leave your side.
As I vow this to him, I start to pat his head and use my fingers to comb through his hair.
I know. I was never worried about that.
He begins to cough as he forces a laugh.
Please take it easy. Don't worry about me. I told you that we could handle it.
I feel my face scrunching up as the tears flow down my face harder than they had been.
Hey, Jekka. Yes, I am here. Tell Aggie, Moms, that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that. No, please. You can tell them yourself, and then they can tell you that you have nothing to apologize at all for. In fact, you need to. Please, Jekka. Of course. Are you crying? Your voice sounds so strange. It's nice in a weird way. I. I just. I. I. Hey, Jekka, listen. Alright. You were the best friend that I ever had. Thank you for staying with me. And I'm sorry to you too. I'm so sorry, Jekka. I do not accept it. You have nothing to apologize for. You did the best that you could, and far beyond that. You were more of a hero than I will ever be. I was not here to witness it, but I am sure that you did more to protect everyone in this place than anyone else did. I am sure of that.
At that, he forces out one last laugh, and then he says,
Thank you.
and begins to fade away once and for all. I hunch over as the last bits of light seem to leave his eyes, my tears falling onto his now still face. His lips remain forever silent as the slight smile he had been forcing relaxes, fading along with his life. I lean down and hug his body, putting my head against his chest as I do so. There is no heartbeat. I am completely alone here. I have failed. I let him die. His mothers were silent when I brought his corpse to them. I was unable to say anything to them, and they were unable to say anything to me. They allowed me into the house to place it onto his bed, and once I did so, they finally began to sob. Unable to take it, I attempted to flee the house, but was unable to do so without running into Aggie. Despite not seeing the body yet, just by the sounds of her mother's crying and the look on my face, she knew. She instantly knew.
You was supposed to outlive me, not the other way around.
This was all I heard as I left. Unable to take the sight of her crying, I ran as quickly as I could, leaving the town itself and going far into the wilderness. I stopped beside a tree and punched it to vent my frustrations, felling it due to my thoughtless action. Birds vacate what had been their home just moments ago, and others that had been nearby fly away as well, due to being startled by the loud sound. I could have saved him. I could have prevented all of this needless destruction, could I not? It is a war, after all. and a war can only persist if both sides remain. If the other side is eradicated, then the war will end, and no innocents will be harmed. This was common knowledge to everyone, even me, especially me, and yet I did nothing but follow orders and act as a common soldier. I did not even want to fight. I only did so because JC wished to, because he wanted to protect everyone. And because I was a reluctant fighter and did not do more, he lost his life. And so, I will be a reluctant fighter no longer. If I can eliminate an enemy that is in direct opposition to those I care for, or if they threaten the peace of many innocents, then I should eliminate them as soon as I can, even if it is not my fight to be had, since I am not a human being. No, because I am not a human being, I should end that fighting as soon as I can. Yes, not just in the next world that I go to, but here as well. In JC's name, I will go on a conquest. I will end this war today, by my own hands. The first to fall after I leapt back to Eel was the knight guarding the front gate of the castle. The one next to him on the other side was the second. After witnessing my shape-shifted arm slicing them into ribbons, the other two guards there did not engage with me, and instead ran. I let them. After opening the front doors of the castle, I was immediately attacked by a knight with a longsword. His attack was effortlessly parried, and his head was severed from his body. In the foyer there, half of the guards decided to attack, while the other half ran away upon seeing my form. Everyone who opposed me was cut down. Slowly making my way through the castle, disposing of anyone who attacked me as I did, I searched for someone different this time. Someone that, until now, I wanted to avoid at any cost. After a bit, I could feel eyes upon me, yet saw no one around. Not caring, I went to the doors leading to the garden, opening them loudly and without any care. The second I did so, I was attacked from behind, and multiple swords sliced through my body. Despite the surprise, my rage remained at the frontmost seat of my emotions. As the pieces of me fell, not a single one fully detached. I form blades and shoot them out from the edges of each one. They fly towards my assailants, impaling each of them and causing them to scream. I am not about to let you, nor anyone else, stop me. Not after all this. I drag my own pieces back to their rightful places on my body and reform their connections, fully healing my own body in the process. After I stand, I go back inside and resume my search, lashing out at anyone I encounter now. No longer allowing anyone wearing armor to run, I cut them all down one by one, stretching my limbs to reach them if necessary. I searched the second floor in that way, not finding the one I sought. I did so on the third floor again as well, not finding her. There, however, I did find two others of note. As I opened the door, that was more intricately decorated than many of the others I had seen, I was greeted by a single loose arrow that completely missed my head. It flew right above me, and made a small sound as it was lodged in the ceiling. And standing there inside of that room, trembling, was the king of Eel and his son the prince cowering behind him. They looked pathetic there as they stared at me, two fully grown men, shaking like newly born lambs. A sight they had probably never seen before. "Please, please spare us. I know not what you want, but name it and you shall have it. Riches, my kingdom, this castle itself, anything." The king met his end by my sword. "Father! No! Please! Get away from me! Stop!" The prince as well. By the sword that was my left hand, their lives were forfeit. I looked for the queen, but was unable to find her. All I could find was a piece of paper suggesting that she was away on business, and was to return in 3 days' time. What a surprise that she will find. Caring not for the people that forced this situation into being through their own selfishness, I moved on with my search. I went to the 3rd floor and promptly began to look through every door there. Disposing of the few knights left with their will remaining to attempt to fight me, I looked through each and every room. This castle has far too many rooms. Just as I was becoming annoyed, though, I found her. There, in the very last room on the 3rd floor, in what appeared to be a large room made for events of some sort. I saw Laureate, standing right in the middle, her sword already drawn. "So the monster finally reveals its true colors. I'm surprised that it took this long." I do not respond, and simply begin to approach her.
Long have I awaited this day, but what of you, I wonder? How long have you wanted to do this? Since that very day we met.
Unable to take it any longer, I decide to unleash the blizzard of emotion that I had somehow been keeping to myself for this long upon her. I never wanted to do any of this, not even for a moment. All I wanted was to come to this world so that I could grow as a person a bit, so that I could do what my master asked me to do, to learn how to like things and dislike things, how to make friends, incredibly simple yet hard things, things that you humans can do without even trying or thinking that hard about it. I form my right hand into a large black greatsword and let it drag behind me as I walk. But now all of that is ruined by your orders because of your existence, because that cowardly, vile former king of yours decided that he wanted his neighboring kingdom to suffer. Because of that, my first, only, and best friend is now dead. He has been taken away, forcefully, and I was forced to watch him leave this world. And now, I am going to pay you back dearly for that, and an extra amount for everyone that has suffered due to you."
Heh.
She enters her usual battle stance, readying herself for anything I may do. And additionally, I will also be adding an extra 150% to that payback, with interest for how angry you have made me. I will fight you as you wanted, Laurent, and I will use every ounce of my power. I will not hold back.
Glad to hear it. Come at me then, swine.
No further words were spoken. She had her sword, and I had my body, and that was all either of us needed in that moment. She swung at me first, and I blocked her hit with my own sword. Our weapons clashed and clanged against each other multiple times. She was deadly serious, and so was I. We were fairly matched as well. Neither side had an edge over the other. Not until I decided that I would stop playing fairly, as she did not deserve that. Jumping back, I turned the arm that was a sword and the one that was not into many, many vines. Bright green vines that were far stronger than the average plant. Let us end this, Laurent. I stretch them out towards her, and when I do, she cuts them effortlessly. And yet, despite how many she cuts, I keep regrowing them from the stumps. Soon enough, she is overwhelmed and completely bound by them. First her arms, then her legs, then every part of her body aside from her head. I force her hand open using those vines, and her sword drops to the floor with a loud clang. After this, I remove her helmet and get a good look at the disgusted glare directed towards me. Staring her right in the eyes as I do, I then lift my left leg high into the air, removing the boot, sock, and a good amount of the pants from it. I form it into a blade and use it to slice through each of my arms, separating the vines from my body. I change my arms and legs back to normal, but I do not bother to fix my clothing as I approach her now still body. She spits at me the second I get within range, but this time, I easily dodge it. And then, still glaring down at me, her face twisted into a sneer. Once a monster, always a monster. Assuming that she is content with her last words, I stick both of my hands out towards her and press them together at the palms. In a way I have never attempted before, I change both of my arms at once and form one giant blade from them, fused at my elbows, a larger and sharper one than I have ever made before. You were more of a monster than I will ever be. And with that, the blade went through the vines, her armor, and finally, her heart. I shove it through her until it comes out of her back, piercing through her spine. She coughs as I begin to slowly take the sword back out, then stop before I do. While still inside of her chest, I turn the giant sword back into my two normal arms and hands. The left one removes itself, while the right one grabs the heart that had been cleaved in half and rips it out before leaving her body itself. And finally, as I do so, she allows me to hear her agonizing scream. Unable to hold it in any longer, she lets out a piercing yell as her life slips away. I throw her heart onto the ground and stomp on it as she watches, unable to even crumple to the ground or writhe in agony due to the vines holding her in place. Then, I spit on it. In the end, however, I would say that she won. Upon killing her, I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. I did not feel good upon getting the revenge I desired. It was the opposite. No, not the opposite. It did not feel bad either. It really and truly made me feel nothing. Perhaps empty would be the correct way to describe it. Regardless, I left her corpse in that condition and returned to the foreign castle afterwards, not speaking to anyone, nor wanting to. I went straight to my room there for the final time. The cloak I had left with Onji was folded neatly and waited for me on my bed. Upon seeing it, I could not stop myself from holding it to my chest for a few moments. After regaining my composure, I sat at my desk in that room. With a feather dipped in ink, I wrote many a word onto a piece of parchment intended for the royals living there. While I would not deliver it myself, whoever found it here certainly would. I knew that for a fact. To the rulers of this land, the king and prince of Eel are both dead by my hand, along with most of the combatants that they had under their command. This war is officially over. No more innocent lives need be lost, so you can rejoice. It took bloodshed to achieve, but in this way, no more will occur. A cause for celebration. Regardless, I will never be returning to this place. I am sorry. At the bottom, I decided to make sure they knew it was me without a doubt. After turning my ability to feel pain off once more, I stab my left arm and then dip a second feather into the wound, coating it in my stark white blood. Once I have done so, I write my name at the bottom with that blood. It is barely visible due to the parchment being white as well, but that matters not. With this, they will know without a doubt that I was the one who penned this. Leaving the paper on the table that my morning bread is always placed upon, I then cut open a hole in space-time for the second time in my life. My next destination was another world I had never seen before, randomly picked. When I arrived, I found it startlingly similar to the one I had just been in, and yet, very quickly, I learned exactly how different it was. "Get down!" I duck on instinct, feeling despair over instantly being met with more fighting, and an arrow quickly whizzes over my head. I am sick of it all. Sick of fighting. Why is there so much fighting between humans? I cannot understand it. They can speak to each other with ease. They can talk to each other without fear most of the time. Even the shy ones are able to announce their feelings. So why then do some turn their backs on others that happen to have different thoughts? "Are you all right?" No. "You're hurt? Where? Did it bite you?" Bite? "Do you feel lightheaded in any way?" The woman dressed in furs of many sorts continues to ask me questions, but I begin to tune her out as I turn around and see what she had been firing at. Not another human, as I had assumed, but a beast instead. A large one with an elongated neck, stubby arms, and fur all over its body. One the likes of which I have never seen before. What is this? The woman grabs my arms and turns me to face her, promptly putting her hand on my forehead. She waits for a moment or two, then removes it. "Okay, you don't have a fever, so that's a great sign. Come with me, okay? I'll get you to help right away, I swear." Okay. Upon following her, I explained my situation in as small amount of detail as I could. She was shocked at first, but believed me upon demonstration of my ability. As I learned in my previous world, attempting to hide it is no use. Eventually, someone will discover my true nature. And so this time, I did not bother. It turned out to be of no consequence here. Monsters were common here, far more common than in the previous world. Common to the point where they were overpopulating the entire world. Because of that, humans in this world banded together to kill them. No wars between people, only a war between them and the myriad monsters here. A welcome change, but conflict remains conflict. And yet, it made me think. A war is easily settled when one side is eliminated. I had steeled myself to resolve them in a way similar to how I had just done. And yet, in a situation like this, it was all but impossible to do so. Some of them are like animals, and some are huge. Bigger than the one you saw back there when we first met. The largest one that's been documented was the size of an island. So said Gladys, the woman who taught me about that world. I decided to help them and hunted the monsters along with them. Going with as many groups as I could, I tired myself out trying to hunt as many as I could and keep everyone in those groups safe at the same time. Eventually, it became too much. My final battle in that world was against a creature I had never seen anything close to before. A triangular head with a long tube-like neck attached to a blob of a body. A monster, if there ever was one. As I faced it alone, watching it raise its surroundings, having no consideration for even its fellow monsters, I realized something. This world would never truly know peace. They repopulate far too quickly. No matter how many are culled, more return. It is abnormal and unnatural. The war would come to a standstill, with the one side that even acknowledges it as such coming to a halt. Tired, and realizing the same thing that I have, they would eventually come to terms with the way that their world is now, and simply adjust and continue living as such. People would continue to hunt the larger and more destructive ones for coin, and others will simply begin to ignore the rest and treat them as normal. The world will go on regardless. They never needed my assistance to begin with. And with that, I decided to leave and move on from this world, and eventually the next, and the one after that, and yet another as well. Moving from place to place, and never staying too long, I would slowly attempt to progress and grow. And yet, no matter how many people I would meet, or how many things I would attempt to do, there were now two metaphorical holes inside of me that I could not fill, no matter how much I would try to. No one can come close to them, to what they meant to me. Allow me to rephrase that, how much they still mean to me. I want to see both of them again, so badly, even now. Even after all these hundreds of years have passed, they remain in my mind. Both JC and Master. Rel. One I can never see again. The other, however, I do have a chance. But I am not yet good enough to go back to them. To my Master, my Creator. I know that I have not yet grown enough. I have not become what they want me to be. I am starting to worry about if I ever will. No matter how long it takes, though, even if it need take me thousands of years, I will not give up. I will become what they wanted me to. I will not stop. I will do it. I swear to you, Rel. One day I will return and be at your side once more. Every time I reminisce, It ends in me thinking this sort of thing once more. How many times, now, have I thought these exact thoughts? Word for word, I would wager it in the hundreds. I will remain true to those words. I will not give up. Yet, time continues to pass ever onward. I wonder, by the time I am finally good enough to be with them once more, will they even remember who I am? Perhaps they have already forgotten me. Between forgetting and not forgetting, after all this time, forgetting would be more likely. However, they did remember Asha even after hundreds of years had passed. Asha, however, was extremely important to them. Unlike the unlike the failure that I was. It is even a possibility that they never expected me to return. Perhaps I have been replaced by another, one that is more in line with... What was that sound? No one else should be here. This town was abandoned long ago. Did yet another animal decide to take shelter here as well? I suppose I will go and see. Wiping the dust off of myself, I stand up, removing myself from the bedroom I had been borrowing. Upon moving out of it and into the main room of the mostly broken house, I see a pristine piece of paper that had not been there before. A piece of paper that, from appearance alone, can easily be determined to be from a different location. It was not simply the wind that knocked this over. It was clearly placed here, deliberately. Strange. I had thought myself to be alone here, but I suppose I somehow missed someone. And now they are attempting communication in this way. And yet I cannot help but wonder, how in the world did this person manage to acquire a piece of paper in this world that looks brand new? Upon opening it, I would receive my answer near instantaneously, and that answer was that the person who left it here was not of this world, just like how I am not. Jekka, hello. We've never met, but we one day might. For now, though, I have something to share with you. A few years ago, your precious master left their room once more and saved the life of a girl. This girl is extremely precious to them, but they aren't monitoring her or anything. This girl is going to be in danger a short while from this moment in time, so perhaps you should go and watch over her. It'd be more fun than staying in this broken world where you can't even work on your one and only goal, right? It was a note seemingly written hastily in jet black ink, and that was all that had been written on it.
And so ends chapter 3. Yay, that's book 1. It's over. I'm done. Look at all that. 146 pages. Oh my god. That took 3 hours. One chapter was 3 hours. I'm so happy I didn't try and do this last time. Yay! Sorry I wasn't responding to people during it, but like, hey, okay, well, I guess I should warn last. Maybe I'll put a pinned thing next time. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be responding to chat because I'm busy reading. I need to put a pinned chat message next time. Thank you to the person who was hating on how I was reading it. Screw you. Jekka just sounds boring. They're always monotone and robotic. It's just how the character is. Fuck you, bitch. suck my dick. But yes, that was chapter 3. That's book 1 done. Yay! Next Sunday I will start book 2, which gets to the story proper. We get to see Kima again, and you'll get to meet the one I draw all the time, Ria, and that was the No, not enough politics. No pod racing. Couldn't have been. Though I guess the horses did race it. Well, not really a race, but they went fast. I guess that counts. Maybe? I don't know. I feel like my tracking is off. Not that it matters. You know, I think real quick. I wanna see if I can show a few things off. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna use this and just change it a bit. So I want to show a few of the designs for the characters before I stop. Or was that there? So since this was the Jekka chapter, I will start with Jekka's design. I don't have any art of them in the night outfit or anything else, but if you will give me 1 second to open the file up. Oh my god, it's so big! Shoot! This is this idiot. That's what their cloak looks like, at least. That shows up here. They don't have this outfit in this chapter, but like that's what they look like. Yeah, that's Jekyll. Yay! And next up, we're gonna go back and we're gonna have a look. So this is Rel. This is what Rel looks like. Yay, Rel! This was Baby Rel, as I affectionately call them. Let me like zoom in a little so you can like see the eyes. With the white slits instead of pupils. Rel's design is supposed to be like baby's first DeviantArt OC because that's what they are. They were so see. Like in canon, that's what they are. And also that was kind of what they are to me too. Like just I made them, like I think Rel is my first humanoid OC that I've ever made. Like a long time ago, Rel was the first, and I have barely changed their design. I think the only thing I've really done is change their shirt, and that's it. Anyway, so that was Rel, and this is Rel with the hat that Asha made for them. That's what their hat looks like, by the way. They've always had that hat too. I have changed what's under the hat a few times, I will admit. There used to be ears, now there's not. There's just cute little hair tufts. And I think that's good. Anyway, this was Rel when, you know, the bad thing happened and they finally changed their clothes. Wow! And then this is Rel after their hair grows really stupid long. Yeah, this is also what Rel looks like in chapter 0 when Kima meets them. As you can see, they look quite strange. They're supposed to. That's the appeal. It's gap moe, trust me. I'm an expert. And speaking of Kima, we're not gonna look at her. Instead, we're gonna look at our good friend Duo. This is what he looked like. It's not a very good picture of him, but this was it. He doesn't have the jacket in canon, I will say that. Like, but all the scratches and scars are definitely still there. It's just, I didn't want to draw what's under them. I really didn't. That's basically it. And this is what looked like before. When her uniform was big and her hair was short. And this is how she appears in the story. I just realized I should have that hidden while I do this. It's the mad woman herself! Look, it's her! Yep. It's all her fault. She's the one who started it all, the cause of it all, if you would. And so back we go to our good friend and protagonist, Kima. Following in the same style. This is like an old ref. It's not very good looking. This is the girl, the special girl. We like her. This is our protagonist, by the way. She is the main protagonist of the story. Don't forget that. This is the protagonist. This is Kima. Kima. I'm gonna show other pictures of her because she's cute. Let's see, where's a good one? I don't draw her often, but I should. Here's a little funny doodle I like of her. It's just a small, silly little doodle, but I like it. That's one of her alternate outfits, but Ria, what do you mean? She's not the protagonist. She's just there. Oh, you know, I gotta show off this schema that K18 commissioned for me. It's so cute. I think about it so much. This art's so cute. She's so cute here. The girl. What's the artist's name? Oh shoot, hang on. I hope that doesn't open up. Oh no. Ah. Draw her with multiple appendages? I have a little doodle of it. Hold on. Yeah, you can't see them. You're not special enough. Shit, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the artist. Oh, here. What's the shout out? This is the person who did it! Yay! Thank you, Tina! Okay. Alright, let's see if I have that. I don't draw her with them much, really. I think I have like one very old reference thing that I did where she has them out. Where would it be? Where would it be? Where would it be? Where would it be? Okay, don't judge how this looks. This is very old. Very old Kimas. This is very old re-art. She's standing in a funny way using them. Oh yeah, and because I don't draw it too often and it doesn't really come up aside from like a throwaway line in the story, her eyes turn purple when she takes her appendages out, and there also is a white spot in the middle of her pupils. It doesn't seemingly affect her, but it's there. Very important detail. And with that, put the thought of the day back. Except I was using the thought thing with that, so that's a problem. I'll have to remake that. That's okay. Anyway, with that, that will be it for tonight. Yay! Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying for the little extra character show. I forgot to show off JC in them. I don't feel like it. Maybe next time. Tune in next Sunday for book 2. Wow! And maybe during the week I'll actually feel up to streaming a game or something. Wow! God, wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, yeah, thank you for listening, thank you for chatting, all that good stuff. Thanks, lurkers, thanks, chatters. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Good day, good night, goodbye, 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 goodbye.